There's nothing that exciting about the vehicle I'm driving today, for most of you. It's an Audi Q5. It's a good luxury premium crossover. It's Audi's best-selling vehicle in the United States as well. And it is part of Audi's continued push to add electrification to their lineup. What? What is that, you say? How is that possible? Well, this is not an all-electric Q5. That would be kind of cool. This is an Audi Q5 Plug-In Hybrid. This is for those of you who are... I'm trying to think of a funny way to say this, but I didn't plan well enough. But you're curious about electric vehicles. You want to dip a toe, but you're not ready to dive into the pool. And you should not jump into an electric pool anyway. I mean, that's just common sense. So you want to start getting into electric vehicles. This is a great place to start. And that's because this offers about 100 more horsepower than the standard Q5, while also offering about 20 miles of purely electric driving range. That's pretty good for a plug-in hybrid vehicle these days. I think 30 is where we're going to start pushing to see vehicles, but 20 is great. That can get you to and from work with ease, especially if you're plugging in at the office or at home. This is a good solution, and then you don't need to have any range anxiety because there's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine under the hood. All together with the electric motor, the 14.1 kilowatt hour battery pack, and that engine, the gas engine up front, you're looking at 362 horsepower. And with the electric assist there off the line, this 0 to 60 time on this is around 5 seconds, which is right about the same as an SQ5. So this is like a sleeper SQ5. It's not as dynamic through corners and all of that good stuff, but it's very nearly an SQ5 that can also run silently and in a pure electric mode when you want it to. It's kind of cool. There's an EV button so you can force this into different driving modes. If you have energy in the battery pack, you can push EV only and it'll run as an electric only vehicle up to, I think, 85 miles per hour on the highway. If you don't push too hard past the detent for the gas, the throttle pedal, it'll stay in electric only mode. The normal mode is a hybrid driving mode, and then there's also a battery hold mode if you want to reserve some energy to use later on and just force it into gas mode. And this also does have the Audi different drive select driving modes as well. It still has auto, comfort, it has dynamic, not sport, I was going to say sport, it has dynamic, and then individual. So you can get a little bit tighter on the steering wheel. If it has the adaptive air, it'll stiffen that up a bit, and it'll adjust the regen and other electric features as well. In dynamic mode, you know, transmission, engine, all of that stuff, all of it in dynamic mode, with the traction control off, this thing scoots surprisingly well. It is, for years, when the Q5 first came out, I always called it Audi's fat wagon. And I think it still is. I think the styling is good, like a fat wagon. Audi tried to bring its heritage into the lines a little bit with pseudo box flares at all 4 corners, which you can kind of see in the shoulder line. It does look good in front 3/4 and in profile. It is a design element that works here. It's a sharp looking crossover that does its job well. There's nothing outwardly exciting about this unless you're looking for additional electrified options in the lineup across the board throughout the industry. So just as a general daily driver vehicle, if you have the money to spend on something like this, this is a good option. This is a bit more expensive to start than the standard Q5. The standard Q5 starts around $44,000. This one starts up around $53,000. However, this one is eligible for a $6,700 federal tax incentive on this, which immediately drops the price back down. And then here in California, I think you get another $1,500 on top of that. And then super duper best bonus part, it's eligible for the HOV lane, so LA traffic can go fuck itself. Not really, there's still traffic in the HOV lane too. But at least you can get around some of it. Sorry, I swear. That's my dog back there. That's Pearl. Hi, Pearl. No more German dogs to bring in the German car. But we have the newer addition to the family. And she's cute. She's super cute. She's a super cute rescue dog. This is turning into a Subaru review here. So, This has MMI in front of you. It has all of the good Audi tech. It doesn't have the latest generation of this stuff, or at least it doesn't have the screen and display version of it. In front of me, it looks good. Here, the infotainment, this is due for a redesign to match the rest of the family. It works, but it's due for an update. And then beyond that, I mean, that's the thing. Some of you should get excited that there's nothing to get excited about here, if that makes any sense. It's just normal now to start integrating these vehicles into the lineup, and it works really well here. Audi's learning plenty from what it's doing with its e-tron vehicles. This is not the full e-tron experience because this is a plug-in hybrid. But again, it's good. When I drove it in all electric mode, it was great, it was smooth, it was easy, very easy to keep it in EV only mode. And it looks simple and it blends into traffic. And then if you get it in California, get it with that red sticker, run through the HOV lane and just be a happy person doing so. This is a good option. If you're in the market, in the space, have the money, because it's not cheap, you know, right around $50,000, maybe a little bit less if you don't go nuts on the different trim levels and get your full tax, federal and state rebates and incentives, you're good to go. And if your commute is relatively short, there's a badass Sprinter going by. It's not going to pick it up, like full off-road spec Sprinter. If your commute is relatively short, it's going to cut down the amount of times you're visiting gas stations. And then when you want to take it on a longer trip, you're fine. You're fine there too. So this is a great way to get into EVs on a smaller scale. There's a Q4 e-tron coming, which I believe is smaller than this and fully electric. And that should be a really interesting, great option because the actual e-tron is a little bit expensive for people. What are those, like 70 grand? I mean, that's a lot of money. And then you have the e-tron GT, which is like an e-tron with less headroom. I don't fully understand that one, but I do like the e-tron. I drove one of those cross country, which I'm sure you all have heard me say a few times now. This is good. I mean, there's not much to add here. It's clearly, you clearly notice when it goes from EV to gas, but it's not jarringly so. But you can feel it and you can tell it's doing it. And then if you don't feel it, there's a gauge cluster down here which shows me a little bit of attack and then like a driving boost gauge. The green section is where you'll stay in the electric portion. And then when you get to yellow, it jumps to throttle. In the different driving modes, the amount of green grows. If it's in a more relaxed driving mode, you can run it up to 50%, but in dynamic, it's dropped down to 25. And then in EV only, it's EV only until you really push the throttle down heavy. I don't have much to add. This drives well. It's very comfortable. There's plenty of room for the dog and the kid seat and my wife, and then more stuff in the back. It's a great option in the plug-in hybrid premium luxury crossover space, which is very niche, but growing. If you're not ready to go full EV, this is a damn fine option. Right, Pearl? What do you think? You just holding on? Okay. We're almost home. There you go. I just need some stats. Let's look these up so we don't fuck them up. Hold on back there, please. Hi.